why Judge Nadel denied that motion, unless he also possibly knew that they had already destroyed the evidence, or that he did not want any evidence of my innocence to be released to the public.
Well, when your investigators found out that the computers had been tampered with, were you surprised?
Based on everything that has happened to me, no. I mean, when they have really bowed to the level of corruption, and I mean corruption that they have obviously gone to, and the lengths that they've gone to falsely accuse someone of crime, and then to have to justify the millions of dollars that they spent. It's shocking that they could go to that level, that any human being could actually go to that level, but considering the totality of the circumstance and the persons involved, that's not shocking.
Well, Judge Tracy Hunter, thank you for your time. My voice sounds a little off there because it was freezing yesterday about 10:30. But I'm your eyes and ears out there giving you my opinion, but, hopefully using my platform so you can formulate your own opinion. I'm not here to tell you what you think. I'm just sharing my thoughts. We're bouncing our thoughts off of each other. But that was deep. That was deep. And she says, look, it's a little bit out there, but I'm not surprised. Here's what I think. Considering that county government has spent $1.5 million prosecuting a woman for a piece of paper, I think that all county employees deserve a raise. Every last one of you deserve a raise. Because obviously the county is awash with money. Obviously. I mean, Hamilton County must be rolling good. I mean, we must have deep pockets in Hamilton County. I say raises for all county employees around. Okay, one more extra week of vacation time for county employees, because it's obvious that we got plenty of cash if they can waste $1.5 million of your tax dollars. And this is a party and who's one of the major tenets of their political ideology is, what do they call themselves? Stewards of tax dollars. I don't think this is good stewardship of our tax dollars as Hamilton County taxpayers. I pay taxes in Hamilton County, and I would rather my county taxes go to raises for county employees. Okay, some tells me county employees need a raise, rather than trying to raise this woman out of her juvenile judge seat here in Hamilton County. But that's just me. What's your take? Since we're talking about county government, I want to talk about something. I'm switching gears here. I want to talk about something that if you have a child is very, very important to you. I just want to raise awareness to you. As a parent, I would recommend that maybe over the weekend you spend maybe 30 minutes or so, if you've got it, just going to the Ohio Department of Education's website and looking up the school where your child or children attend, and then looking at how your school or the school where your child or children attend, how they fared last year in terms of their testing and grading. And it begs the question, is your school properly educating your child? And I'll be honest with you, as a parent, I feel disrespected. I mean, the school year is nearly over. And now the Ohio report card's coming out. And I realized that they had some issues. I don't know if it was computer glitches or whatever the case it may be. But, as a parent, they're doing me a disservice. And I think they're doing all parents a disservice if your child attends a public school in the state of Ohio by releasing the report card 3/4 of a way through the next school year. And let me tell you why. Because if over the weekend you decide to go to the Ohio Department of Education's website, and again, you can find a link right now on my Facebook page. If you decide to do that, and you look up the school building where your child attends, and if you find out that last school year that the majority of the kids did not pass, that by all the standards that have been set forth, that your school is not meeting those standards, then you don't have an opportunity to do anything about it. You're stuck. I mean, you're 3/4 of the way through the school year. Maybe 3/5 of the way through the school year. I mean, I think that's more accurate. 3/5 of the way through the school year. What good is the report card now? Because as a parent, I'm not really in a position to grab little Buddha and take her out of school. Now, luckily, the wife and I do say luckily, the wife and I were in a position that we could sit outside, right, and camp outside to make sure little Buddha got into one of the better public schools here in Cincinnati, okay? And I've always said it. I'm fortunate. You know, I'm fortunate to have the wifey. She's fortunate to have me. We were fortunate to have 2 incomes, okay? We were fortunate to have the kind of jobs where we could take off and nobody was threatening our jobs. Not everybody was in that position or is in that position, okay? So now the Ohio Department of Education wants to roll out the report card, and it's nearly March. It's damn near spring break. What am I supposed to do with a report card now? I'm telling you, folks, that is a travesty. It's absolutely useless to me this school year. And, you know, I've been making this point for many years. And again, I worked inside of a school building. Don't get me started talking about CPS, because if you work for CPS, you may not like it, but you will not be able to say I'm telling you anything that is dishonest, because that's not who I am. But as a parent, what in the hell am I supposed to do with a report card, right, from last school year? I mean, okay, let's flip this. Imagine, for whatever reason, that the last report card from last school year, that's 2014, 2015. Let's say for whatever reason, you didn't get it for last quarter of last school year. And let's say for whatever reason, they're just giving it to you now. What would you do with it? You roll it up and flush it down the toilet. It's absolutely useless to you now. So I feel the same way about this grading system for the Ohio schools. You know, it could be a useful tool. See, here's what I think. I think that the Ohio Department of Education should do their due diligence, okay, to do whatever is possible to make that information available prior to the next school year. Now, why is that useful, family? It's useful because if you find out that your school is underperforming, you can take your child out. You don't have to waste a year with a grand experiment. And guess what? Your child is the experiment. I don't like it. It's a travesty. I feel disrespected as a parent. I don't give a damn. Why are you giving me a report card a year after it's even useful? It's ridiculous. Also, in school buildings in which they have 2-3 years and they're not performing to certain levels, why are the administrators, I'm talking about principals, assistant principals, I'm talking about district vice principals that oversee multiple schools, why are they allowed to stay in their positions? Obviously, they're ineffective. I mean, I have to double check on certain schools this year, but there's one school that I know of in particular that has been underperforming here. It's a public school in Cincinnati. It has been underperforming for years, and yet the administration is still in place. How is that possible? How is that possible? I mean, how many years does it take to find out that certain administrators, certain principals are just not effective in their jobs? How many years? And see, what you don't know, folks, is that in a lot of these schools, essentially, your children are nothing more than Petri dishes. It's an experiment. It's like every other year they come out with something new, you know, some new standard or some new process, right? Or some new system. And they're using your children as educational guinea pigs. You better get hip. You got to get hip, but it's hard to get hip if you don't have the available information. This is a travesty. I mean, it's almost March. And the Ohio Department of Education is just now releasing information from last year. So that's August. Think about this. August, September, October, November, December, January, and February. That's 7 months. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on this. We won't even add the summer months from last year, June and July. And early August, when the school buildings are essentially empty. What in the hell are they doing? And again, as a parent, if you go to that website, the Ohio Department of Education's website, if you look up your school building, and again, they make that kind of stuff kind of difficult, I think purposely, to make it hard for parents to find out what's going on in the schools. I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't like it, tell them, and they can call me. We can talk about it. That's just my thoughts. Okay? What am I supposed to do with it? Nothing. Now, if I get it in, let's say, late June, July, well, then maybe I've got a chance to take my kid out of this school. And maybe that's the reason why they delay it, because they don't want parents to rush out of certain school buildings, because, I mean, some of these schools will be empty if parents really knew what was going on. Man, I could go all day about this, but I'm telling you, that is a travesty. I don't even know why the Ohio Department of Education even released it. It must be tied to federal dollars or the bylaws or something like that, because in terms of it being useful, it's not. Matter of fact, to kind of underscore the point, local media is reporting on that story. They got a similar headline. They're asking you a question. Are these grading systems useless? And the answer to me is obviously yes, fam. It's useless. It's February. If your child walked into your bedroom this morning and said, hey, Mom, I forgot to give you this. This was my report card. Oh, your report card from this year? No, it was last year. What would you do? You look at them like, why are you wasting my time? And that's what I'm saying to the Ohio Department of Education. Stop playing parents. Because as a parent, I can see right through it. Corey writes, that's exactly why they release it so late. They don't want a run on those failing schools. That's right. But if I got a child at a failing school, I should have the right to take my child out. You shouldn't have to waste an entire year while the Ohio Department of Education is trying to get their systems right for our children. That is a travesty. And then they'll trot this out like, hey, you know what they're going to do in the next couple of days? They're going to highlight the higher performing schools. That's what's going to happen. Absolutely ridiculous. Brent writes, it is possible because of the Board of Education. They are strong and independent. They can't even get relief and challenge. You can't even get relief and challenge them in municipal court. Rhonda writes, parents need to volunteer at the schools. That way they can know the teachers and can request the ones that are doing the job the correct way, even if you can't switch up and go to a better school. You're right about that, Rhonda. But given the realities about money these days, you got people who are making less and working more. You got parents who are spending more time outside of the household, working 2 jobs, in some cases, 3 jobs. They got a part-time job, a primary job, and a side hustle. And they're doing that just to try to make ends meet in today's America. So in many cases, they don't have time to volunteer. And I know people say, well, make time, and I'm with you. Try to make time. Maybe it's a Saturday. I get it. But the reality is you got a lot of good folks out there who are working hard every single day trying to provide for their family. And so they need the schools to do their jobs. I'm just saying that if I have a vote, my vote is that the report cards come out before the new school year. That way, parents can have an opportunity to pull their kid out. We need an earlier release. Keena writes, they only made an 11% increase in graduation rates, etc. Well, I mean, I'll take 11% over no percent increase. And I'll have to look at the exact numbers to see how significant that is. But, considering what I do know, in that world, you take your successes where you can get them. I'll leave it like that. Rhonda writes, teachers are practicing in education just like doctors are practicing in medicine. He's right. Corey writes, the parents have to demand an earlier release. Imagine if this would have occurred at one of the parochial schools like Summit Country Day. It would never happen. He's right. Keena writes, it was in the news this morning. I'll check it out. All I'm saying is that if you're a parent, at the very least, sometime this weekend, you can find the link online. You can find the link on my Facebook page. Check it out for yourself. Just look at the different indicators and see where and how the school where your children or your child or children are attending, how it's performing. And if it's not up to standards, and let's say it's way below standards, what are you supposed to do? You can't make a move. James writes, CPS will be asking for more money this year with less students. We'll see. Some people might think it's worth it. To me, I feel like parents are really getting the bad end here. They really are. Anybody want to? Oh my God. That's funny. That's funny. Somebody's responding to what I said about